Betray, but they didn't allow their betray to become what? In grief, in mourning, in hatred. They turned their betray into what? Glory and loving. That's why me and you are here. And Christ Jesus was number one. If he hadn't been betrayed by Judas Iscariot, me and you will not be saved today. It takes providence. We will return our Bible to Luke 22, 47 to 48. He said, while he yet spake, behold, a multitude, and he that was called Judas, one of the 12, went before them and drew near unto Jesus to kiss him. But Jesus said unto him, Judas, betrayest thou the Son of Man with what? A kiss. Here is an incident of Jesus with your disciple. Somebody he has trained and raised up. Somebody he has fed and he has been accommodated. Somebody he has been clothed with for almost 3.5 years. The same very person turned against him. And the saddest thing was, it turned to be like what? A loved one. He went and kissed him. And that kiss is what? A kiss of betrayal. And Jesus said, Judas, betrayed thou me with what? A kiss. But the outcome, that's most important. Not the incident. Judas betrayed his master, his Lord, somebody who have trained and sheltered, accommodate him. But the outcome, Jesus took the betrayal and turned it into multitude of blessings that affected generous, many, and numerous people, including myself. And let me read a little background about Jesus Christ. Christ was the very God, and he was our Savior. He was the most prominent that you can compare anyone to. And Judas knows how great his master is, how powerful he is, how successful he is. And he betrayed him with intention that after he had received the bribe, when they are coming to arrest Jesus Christ, something can happen and he can go away free. Because he knows how great he is. He takes only prominence. To be what? To be betrayed. So when we are betrayed, we should realize that then there are some potential in me that people see. There are some greatness in me that people see that I cannot see. And what people see in you, sometimes you cannot see by yourselves. If you go, most accounts, those people who were betrayed in the Bible are people of what? Prominence and successful. We will continue with a man, Joseph, called Joseph. We will read accounts from Genesis 37, 15 to 20. He said, and a certain man found him, and behold, he was wandering in the field. And the man asked him, saying, what seekest thou? And he said, I seek my brethren. Tell me, I pray thee, where they feed their flocks. And the man said, they are the and cast him into some pit, and we will see some evil beasts have devoured him, and we shall see what will become of his dream. These are accounts of Joseph being betrayed by his own brethren, people whereby their father have sent to take a food to what? For them in the field. They conspired against him, betrayed him, and what? Sold him into slavery. But we all know the outcome, the end results that came afterward, the great betrayal by his own brethren. They sold him and he ended up in the house of what? A Potiphar. And at the end, Joseph became as a prime minister in the land of what? Egypt. So what they were thinking or conspiring against him of betraying God, turn it to become a good. And we see from the background of this young man, Joseph, the family, the brethren saw some greatness, some potential, whereby he has already dreamed about and told them. So they saw his bright future and they want to destroy. But I want to assure you that no one can destroy what God has ordained in your life. They may try, but they will never be successful. Joseph was a prominent from the childhood, and his childhood even tells his future. And it takes only prominence being what? Being betrayed. Because they saw his future, and they saw that his future was greater and brighter, and they decided what? To quench and destroy that future. So if you are here and you are being betrayed, if you are here and people are trying to bring them down, yes, it's all because they see some potential, some future bright in you. And it takes only prominence to be what? To be betrayed. And no one can bring you down except yourself and God. If you allow yourself and sit on your word, or you are soulful and pitiful and turn it to become a story and beginning to tell everyone, instead of make good of it, of your trouble and thanking God and strengthening yourself and stand and ask God to let you to overcome as Jacob overcome his what? His suffering. If you are here and you are being betrayed, I want to assure you that God can turn your betrayal into what? A blessing. Being betrayed doesn't mean that's the end of what? Your life. And most of the time, when we are betrayed, when people let us down, when people disappoint us, when people we trusted disappointed badly, we turn it to become a story, a sad story that we go around and tell all people and make ourselves the most miserable person. But I want to assure you, you have to take advantage upon your betrayal. Because only prominence are being what? Betrayed. And your prominence can never be what? Dashed out. Nobody can take your bright future out from you. It's only you, and when you allow it, that's the only time the enemy can destroy your future. We see a man, David, also. We read from Psalm 41:9. He said, "Yea, my own familiar friend in whom I trusted, which did eat my bread, hath lifted up his heel against me. But thou, Lord, be merciful unto me, and raise me up, that I may requite them. By this I know that thou favorest me, because my enemy doth not triumph over me." Your enemy can never triumph over you. Those who want to betray you and bring you down can never triumph over you. This is the story between David and his own son Absalom and his personal advisor called Ahithophel. When Absalom rise against him, his personal advisor of war also conspired with what? Absalom. And they turned against him. That's the time he wrote this psalm. He said, "My own good friend." Ahithophel was his best friend. They moved together. They sat together. They discussed war plans together. So he knows in and out of David. He knows how David moved. He knows how he thinks. And he knows all his movements. And he turned against him. And at the end result, who became victorious? It was David. And who was attacked? The prominent. Because David has a bright future. He was a king. He was a priest. He was a musician. And he was a man after God's own heart. And he overcame his world, his trouble. Are you being betrayed today? Have people let you down? Let us see the accounts of Moses. We consider Moses to be one of the greatest men. But I want us to read from Exodus 2:13-15, he said, and when he went out the second day, behold, two men of the Hebrews strove together, and he said to him that did the wrong, wherefore smitest thou thy fellow? And he said, who made thee a prince and a judge over us? Intendest thou to kill me as thou killest the Egyptian? And Moses feared and said, surely this thing is known. I have been exposed. Now when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moses. But Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh and dwelt in the land of Midian. And he sat down by a well. That's where God called him. When they took him to a man that became his father-in-law, Jethro, and whilst he was watching his sheep, that's the time God called him. Moses was trying to intervene and even to protect his own Hebrew men, and they exposed him. They betrayed him badly, and the report reached Pharaoh that he has been murdered and what Egyptian, and he had to flee. The people that he was going to save, thinking that they will recognize and even come to his defense, they betray him and accuse him as a murderer. At the end, Moses had to flee. People from your own family, your own people, people that you are trying to defend and protect, they will turn against you. But I want to assure you that only prominence are being betrayed. And at the end result, Moses became successful. Sometimes some things happen in our life that it might be the will of God. It might be God's permission that he allows some things to happen in order to show himself great in our lives. So when you are betrayed, you don't need to sit down and bow your head down and tell the whole story and begin to cry almost whole year and make yourself most miserable person in the world. Only prominence are being betrayed. And all these prominent people who were betrayed became overcomers, became successful, and became people that gone out to redeem and save mankind. So, if we are being betrayed, there must be the will of God that you will learn from your experience. You will stand on your grounds. You will be able to stand and give a witness and testimony and save souls. Have you been betrayed? I want you to know today that it's only prominence are being betrayed. I want to share a word of caution and advice for betrayers. God deal with what? Betrayers. I've never seen any successful betrayer. Judas was an what? Great example, and numerous of them in the Bible. I want us to quickly read from Matthew 27:5. Said, and he cast down the piece of silver in the temple and departed and went and hanged himself. Judas, after he betrayed his master, he couldn't use the money to buy the new car that he was expecting. He couldn't use the money to build the flashy house that he was expecting. He went and cast it out and went and hung himself. God deals with betrayals. Have you betrayed someone? Has someone betrayed you? I want you to be encouraged that if you are being betrayed, I want also to let you know that that voice is an act of what? Betrayal. Because when you come together in face to face and stand and stand your vows, and at the same time, the same person, you turn and say, I don't need you anymore. It's an act of betrayal. That's Malachi 2:14-15. That should not what? Treat your wife or what? Your husband that God have given you treacherously. It's an act of treachery. It's an act of betrayal. Have you been betrayed? as someone who is exchanging vows. It's like you are come to an agreement in terms, a contract, covenant with somebody, and the same person that you will exchange vows with and had an agreement with have to come out and say, I reverse my vow and I don't need you anymore. That's the act of betrayal. God deal with what? Betrayal. And it takes all the prominence have been betrayed. Today, have you been betrayed by someone? I've been betrayed by a family member. People I've had. I've been betrayed by so-called friends. I've been betrayed by people that I cannot call, they are close to me. I have them. They turn against you. I've been betrayed even in my ministerial experience. People you are trying to help them in the ministry, in the church. You spend all your time, your money with them. They turn against you. I've been betrayed and I fell back. But that doesn't bring me down. Never stop me doing what I have to do. And you may have a testimony also. We all get betrayed. And it takes all the prominence. I've been betrayed. The reason I'm standing here is God strengthened me. He made me strong. Just last year, I was betrayed badly. Some family member I trusted betrayed me. He took a great advantage of it. It helped me. But thank God, I'm standing here. It takes all the prominence.
Amen.
Being betrayed. And there's a saying goes that a downfall of a man is not an end of their life. If we are being betrayed, that's not the end. That's not the time to continue to stand and tell your story throughout the whole year and make yourself miserable and sad. You need to let go, because Joseph, Moses, Jesus, they all let go. And it takes prominence to be what? To be betrayed. Shall we bow?